Tip of the cap to the research guys, John and Evan, for this one. At no time in NFL history has a player who wore #1 in college been taken #1 overall in the draft. That may be about to change.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that's an intangible that I think I can get behind. So live from Kyler Murray's pro day, technically Oklahoma's pro day, Todd McShay, Tim Hasselbeck, looking at the measurables that I suppose matter slightly more than the number that he wears. Let's send it over to Norman.
Oh, and here we are, Norman, Oklahoma, the much anticipated workout and pro day for Kyler Murray. There's some other players here as well. There's about 7 or 8 that are going to wind up getting drafted, but Kyler Murray obviously is the focus here. Everything we talked about during the combine and during that week was his height and his weight, and he was just over 5'10". That was a win. He's 207 pounds, 3 pounds heavier than Russell Wilson was when he was at the combine. Today he checks in at 205 pounds, but he also has decided, well, he will throw. He's not going to run. He's not going to do the vertical jump or the broad jump, any of the shuttles. He's just going to focus on the throwing. To me, that's what I would advise him to do, but I know there are some people that are a little frustrated with that.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Look, I, like you, would advise him to do the same thing because you can just say, hey, listen, if you're curious of how fast I am, just turn on the tape and watch how fast I am. But I do think, and I've talked to guys here today, that we're a little disappointed that he wasn't going to, do some of the workout stuff to really find out, well, how fast is he? Is he 4.5? Is he 4.3? Like, he looks fast on TV, looks fast on film, but really is he one of these guys that he's the fastest guy in the field when he's out there, which he looks like a lot of the time?
He does. I would say really the 2 fastest players in college football that I saw all season long were Marquise Brown, his wide receiver, and then #2.
And neither of those guys
was Kyler.
Yeah.
Neither of those guys are running, but to me, they're in the 4.3s or 4.4s, and that's going to work. So you didn't wear a suit today.
I didn't.
You look great in the outfit. I know you were paying so much attention to the tape and getting ready. So show us what you got.
Well, I mean, listen, people say, well, he's not running. Why would you give him the advice not to run, Todd? Part of the reason is his film is really good. And so if he can come out here and throw on his pro day, people will be impressed. And so when you watch the film, especially of him as a passer, great example against West Virginia, they're trying to get kind of the fake go screen to the guy in the slot, run down the field, and his safety playing over the top. He comes off of it because it's not there and gets all the way to the backside post. And when he lets this thing go, this middle of the field safety, is still kind of in play, throws the wide receiver open. He also just has the ability to kind of come off, locate guys, and deliver the ball accurately. Play action here, wants to slant and go to the bottom of the screen, corner playing way over the top. He comes off of it, he's got a little bit of pressure in his lap, and this is an off-platform throw right to the chin of the wide receiver on the comeback. That's outstanding. And then the ability to fix things when they aren't done correctly. Up front, it's a bust that should be picked up. He believes that he is. He's got a free runner in the backfield. And on a play that should be a negative play for Oklahoma's offense, he escapes, finds a completion. And I think that's probably one of the things that sticks out to me the most is his ability to kind of fix things that didn't go properly and make the guys around him even better. It's maybe the best thing you can say about a quarterback, and he most certainly did it here at Oklahoma.
Yeah, and I've been answering questions for a week now about his interviews and his football intelligence and those sorts of things. You just saw the tape, and you see over and over again, game after game, he doesn't leave open receivers. He sees the whole field. I really don't have any questions about him in terms of his ability to translate to the next level in reading defenses. Now we get the Marty party. Take it away, Marty.
Thank you, guys. Excellent job. I am here with an Oklahoma coaching legend, Bob Stoops, who won the 2000 National Championship here in Norman, and 10 Big 12 championships, and also the guy that brought Kyler Murray here to Norman. All right, I want you to put me in the room. You, your staff, including Lincoln Riley, are watching tape on potential transfer quarterbacks to come here and play for you. What was that day like when you guys were watching that tape?
Yeah, it was interesting. Special player.
That man's a prophet. Got back-to-back Heisman trophies here in Norman. One last thing, Coach. There's been some question about Kyler's interviews at the Combine and leadership and all those types of things. You've coached him. How would you describe him as a leader?
He's a gamer. He's a tough guy. The players follow him. He's a leader. He's a winner. That's all the guy's ever done. And he loves the game. He's one of those two that just absolutely the best part of his day is out there on the field. So he's what you want in your locker room, definitely.
Can't thank you enough. Thank you for your insight, brother.
Appreciate it.
We are here in Norman all day long. Kyler will throw shortly, and we will bring you his throwing session live all day long here in Norman, Oklahoma with the Sooners and Kyler Murray.
Sports Center on the Road is presented by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans.
We have breaking news into Sports Center, and for that we turn to our NFL insider, Adam Schefter. What can you tell us about Earl Thomas?
David, we've been waiting to find a home for Earl Thomas, and finally he intends to sign with the Baltimore Ravens. A massive 4-year, $55 million deal for a safety that includes, and let me just look down here at the numbers, $32 million fully guaranteed, including $22 million in the first 9 months. And so the Ravens, who got raided during free agency and lost C.J. Mosley and lost Zadarius Smith and lost Eric Weddle, now basically fight back, Terrell Suggs as well, and get a defensive leader, because some of the leadership that they expected out of C.J. Mosley basically left to go to the New York Jets. And as Moore pointed out yesterday, there was a string of people there in Baltimore who carried the torch for the defensive leadership. Ray Lewis passed it down to Ed Reed. Ed Reed passed it down to Terrell Suggs. Terrell Suggs was supposed to pass it down to C.J. Mosley. Now Terrell Suggs is not there to pass it down to Earl Thomas, the new defensive leader in Baltimore. And listen, the AFC North has Odell Beckham Jr. in it. The Browns have a lot of weapons. They need somebody to patrol that defense, and Earl Thomas is going to do it.
Earl Thomas, great playmaking safety. Turns 30 this year. He's missed 19 games over the last 3 years, getting $32 million guaranteed. So the Ravens pushing a lot of money in on Earl Thomas. What are you hearing now about Mark Ingram?
Well, listen, this is the presumed destination all along. And Mark Ingram's been talking to teams, but the Ravens had identified him as somebody that they'd like to add. We'll see if they're able to get that deal done. But Baltimore has been the favorite to land Mark Ingram after New Orleans moved on from him, when it basically entered into a verbal sort of agreement with Latavius Murray, the former Vikings running back. So now listen, you feel the Baltimore Ravens, you get Earl Thomas, you get Mark Ingram, you get some veteran leadership in there, some well-liked and well-respected players, and that seems to be the way that it's tracking right now, David.
All right, as you mentioned, they have been suffering losses through this whole process.
Stops the bleeding for a little bit.
Yeah, Earl Thomas back there to fix some things in the secondary for the Baltimore Ravens. Adam Schefter, our NFL insider, giving us the breaking news there. Adam is with us all day as we continue to monitor the NFL and free agency.
Yes, but David, the NBA is like, hey, we got a big one too. Warriors and Rockets squaring off tonight for the 4th time this season. Houston looking for the sweep. We'll give you some insight as to why they're so successful against the champs, and it has a little bit to do with Steph. Plus, a live look at Norman, Oklahoma. We await Kyler Murray's Pro Day, also known as Oklahoma's Pro Day. He will throw, and we'll be there. It's coming up on SportsCenter.